What is up, guys? JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. And today I wanted to give you some of like the behind the scenes sort of idea and what I want to use as a metaphor and an analogy behind what I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, success leaves clues. In other words, if you have been successful at something, there is a GPS, there are some guidelines, there are some pretty straightforward demarcations that can show you how to be successful in different things in life. If you followed my channel or you followed me long enough, you realize that my realm is speaking about fitness and nutrition, but primarily I like to speak about the cognitive processes of nutrition. In other words, the things that trigger, tempt you, how to avoid mitigating emotions through food, etc., etc. And so today I want to talk to you about a particular conversation that I had with a client just yesterday. And this was her question. She said, JT, what is your mental syntax around food? In other words, she wanted to understand what my thinking behind how I thought about food in order to be able to stay consistent for so many years on proper nutrition, exercise, because she was sort of struggling to create a framework around that. And so today we're going to talk about the background, not the background of my studio office, but instead what's behind the thinking and the idea and the frameworks that allow me to stay consistent with food. If you've ever been on any kind of nutrition plan or you've tried to discipline yourself to get into some kind of fitness routine, you realize that it is an uphill battle, at least in the beginning, right? But once you've actually developed some habits, some consistent habits, you no longer have to exert a ton of energy making things happen. So when I was 7 years old, I loved martial arts. I grew up in an era where Van Damme and Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris and all these different karate superheroes were around. They were shooting their movies. And it was really interesting because my mom knew for a fact that if she wanted to take me to one of these martial arts movies, it had to be on Friday so that I could have Saturday and Sunday to kind of get rid of the craziness, because otherwise if she took me to the movies on Saturday or Sunday and I saw one of these movies, Monday morning she would be getting a call from the principal saying that I was suspended because I did some flying kick and I hit a kid or something along those lines. So I was obsessed with martial arts. I had a poster in my room of Bruce Lee, and it was that typical poster that we see all the time when we see Bruce Lee without a shirt and the black black pants, and he had a big scratch on his chest. I can't remember exactly. I think it was something Dragon was the name of the movie. And he had a big scratch on his chest. And so I had that poster in my room. This is a time where we used to take tape and put posters up in your room. Remember those days? And so I would always look at that picture, and I remember I loved everything about Bruce Lee. I used to mimic his moves, his noises all day long. My poor sister, I would practice on her, my flying kicks, all these different things, my nunchucks. I was crazy about martial arts. And so because I wanted to look like Bruce Lee, I actually would avoid all the Halloween candy, the Christmas, candy canes and all the stuff that most kids would love. I would avoid that stuff because as early back as the time of being 7, I wanted a six-pack. And so I developed this mindset at a really, really young age that I wanted to be strong, but more importantly, understanding more of the psychology behind what was going on in my life at the time and the traumas and the things that I was trying to overcome through exercise. I understand why I fixated on this superhero, which was kind of my male figure, someone to look up to because I didn't grow up with my dad. And so I clung to Bruce Lee. Like that was my father figure. That was what I thought a man was supposed to look like. And because I had, my mother and my sister, and I was the man of the house, and I felt like I needed to protect them, I needed to find sort of a pillar, an anchor, something that I can really, really focus on and try to become like. And so Bruce Lee became that thing and became that symbol for me of strength and resilience. And so, of course, following that, I got into martial arts and I excelled in martial arts and I did really, really well. And then I found soccer. And then, of course, I had to be fit and I had to be strong. And I wanted to look fitter than most soccer players, which back then when I started playing, that was very easy to do because most of them weren't weightlifting or even thinking about nutrition. But because I already had that mindset as a kid, as a martial artist, I had those disciplines already instilled in me. And so of course I went on to play soccer. I did that at a high level. My career ended at the age of 24. And of course, the first thing I did was go into the fitness and nutrition industry. And then that pushed me even further ahead in my mindset and framework because I wanted to be congruent with my message. So I tell you all these things to say that in order for you to stay consistent with a fitness and nutrition kind of lifestyle, you need to find a very, very strong why, something that really anchors you to the idea of fitness and nutrition, not just as a way to meet a metric or to look or feel good, but instead an overall system that really can carry you through difficult times, the adversity, that can connect you to your spirituality. And when you actually make it a holistic approach, right? You're not just looking for the metric, but you're actually looking to get better, to get stronger, to show up as the best version of yourself. That creates a very, very strong why. And once you have that strong why, you have the syntax, the framework, the background, as you can see, that allows you to sustain this for a lifetime. But my friend, I'm here to say that until you find that strong why, that strong framework, right? That strong syntax, that framework that's going to push you forward, you're always going to go after the superficial stuff. I want to lose weight. I want to look good. I want to fit into this dress. I'm going to a reunion. I'm going on a cruise. Those things only last a couple of weeks and then they fall off and you're back to your old settings. And so if you're frustrated by the idea of yo-yo dieting, if you've never been able to sustain a lifestyle in fitness and nutrition, it's not because you're flawed. It's not because you're big boned. It's not because your parents are obese and therefore you're destined to be obese. It's simply because you have not connected to the right framework, to the right why, to that right mental syntax that's going to allow you to push through even when you don't want to work out. I'll leave you with this last piece. Oftentimes people say, JT, it's really easy for you to do this because you really enjoy it and you love working out, and I do. But can I just say this? Every single morning, I have to plead with myself to put my gym clothes on, my sneakers, and take the first step forth. It's always hard. It's never easy. Once I'm doing it, I enjoy it. Once I get done with it, I feel the satisfaction of falling in love. I've learned to fall in love with the effort, right? Not with suffering, but with the accomplishment, which brings so much fulfillment. So I wanted to give you a little bit of the syntax, a little bit of the thinking that I have behind my fitness and nutrition lifestyle. I hope it serves you in some way. If you've enjoyed this video, check this video out here, which you're going to love. If we're not connected yet, if you are not subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe. Let's stay in touch. These are the videos. These are the things that I speak about, things that edify the mind, the body, and the spirit. JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.